How do you respond to someone that says, okay, I'm willing to go vegan with the exception of honey. What's wrong with eating honey? The practice is still very cruel, just like any other practice in these industries. Just like what happens to animals in the meat, dairy and egg industries, or in the leather industry and so on. Just because bees are tiny and they fly, that doesn't mean that they should be abused and exploited. So the most common practice is they cut off the wings of the queen bee. They cut off the wings so that she stays in the hive, so that she cannot leave, so that they can keep making honey and they can keep taking the honey, right? That's one thing. There is artificial insemination or rape as we know it, just like the dairy industry and the meat industry. There is artificial insemination in the honey industry. So they literally rape these tiny little creatures. How they do it is insane. There are videos that you can find online. You can actually see how it's done. You would not believe it, but that's what they do. And when they are taking the honey, obviously they don't give a fuck about these creatures, so they're being super rough with them. And in that process, a lot of these bees are injured and killed. And like many of you mentioned, they torch the hive at the end when they're done with it. Yeah, so it's not like these bees are free to just go and do whatever. No, they're just slaves, and their only purpose is to keep producing honey. And we all know that bees are really hard working creatures. We know that because we use them as an example when we want to make an example about someone who's hardworking. So they're just working hard 24/7, and then these humans are taking the honey. When they're done with them, they torch them and moving on to the next group of individuals. So bees actually have two stomachs, and there's one stomach and its only purpose is to store the honey. They keep the honey in there and then they vomit it. They bring it back up, and that's the honey that non-vegans eat. So that's what we're referring to when we say bee vomit, because it's sitting in their stomach, I'm not too sure for how long, and then they vomit it, and that's the final product that you eat as a non-vegan. Another thing is, once you cover all of these points when you're outreaching someone, then you can say, did you know that there's vegan honey actually? Did you know that there is rice malt syrup, there is molasses, there is date syrup, there is maple syrup, there is agave? So then you can, just like we count all the options for milk, you can do that with honey alternatives. But make sure that's the last point you make. So don't bring it up before you make your points on the ethics of what happens to bees. But it's good to mention those options because I would imagine that many people don't know about them. Queen bees are usually killed by the bee farmer after 2 years when their egg-laying abilities start to decline and are then replaced with younger bees. Of course, because that's what we do to all animals. When the cows can no longer get pregnant, they get killed and replaced by their daughters. So Paula said, interesting fact, to get an idea of the amount of work they do, if bees made minimum wage, a jar of honey would cost $182,000 fucking dollars. I just added that. Paula didn't say that. I just added that for emphasis. That's crazy.